afternoon and welcome to yet another TUG Connects 365 webinar today. I'm Gloria Nelson, your host with TUG, and as you settle in and get ready for the start of today's webinar, let me give a brief introduction for TUG, the usergroup.org, for both our current members and those of you who represent organizations that have not yet joined our online community of Infor distribution software users. Now, we've all heard the phrase that knowledge is power, and I can say with confidence that after today's presentation, you'll be waking up tomorrow with a little more of both. TUG webinars, online forums, and member events facilitate the timely exchange of ideas and information to help you work smarter and with more confidence. Now, that is a powerful combination. If you're currently a member, it pays to get even more involved. And if you're not, by all means, visit our website to discover why 2,300 heads are better than one to help you be the best at what you do. A couple of announcements that I would like to make. If you don't have a presenter role, if you currently don't have your microphone muted, I would ask that you would mute unless you do come online. We do encourage and want involvement, but just to be courteous, to pick up no background noise, if we can do that. The other thing is that all of our presenters today have given you IP permissions. So if you want to take a screenshot of anything, feel free to do so. Grab, copy, chat, talk amongst yourselves, and just really encourage all this interaction that we can get this afternoon. So open up your Q&A window, post your questions there so everyone can see them. You also have the ability to upvote them. If you like a question that you also would like to see the answer to, if we have multiple questions populated, it's going to bubble that question and push it right up to the top through upvoting. And also open your chat window because we'll be monitoring that as well. We want to know, first of all, where you're all logging in.
Okay, did you say anything to you?
If you want to plug that in, go ahead and do that. Now, we plan on taking up probably pretty much the full hour, so buckle in and get ready as we move along. And now it is my pleasure to introduce John Kociuba, ERP Manager for RW Gibson Consulting. And John, I'm going to have you introduce your folks here from the assembly and service users viewpoint, and go ahead and take it away.
All right, well, thanks very much, Gloria. Good afternoon, good evening to all. I'd just like to welcome you to this presentation on reviewing new enhancements for Infor ISM and CSFS. My name is John Kociuba, and I'm your network leader for assembly and service for the user group. I'm also the ERP manager for
John, you've muted yourself. John, if you can unmute.
Look at me go.
There you go. He's back, folks.
All right. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone. I'd like to thank everybody for coming to our meeting today as we review new enhancement requests for Infor ISM and CSFS. My name is John Kociuba, and I'm your network leader for the assembly and service. And I'd like to first start off by thanking everyone for their time today. I appreciate all the registrations, and hopefully we have a very productive meeting in this next hour. And I would like to introduce, oh, I went too far. I'd like to just quickly introduce the agenda. We're going to quickly go through some introductions. We're going to have a couple polls. I'm going to quickly run through some notes, what's new, just to keep everybody informed. Then we'll quickly run into the good practices of a good ERS. And then we have the people from Infor that will quickly give us an update on the CSFS side. And then we'll jump in and look at some ERSs. So we're looking obviously for some feedback. So what we can do better or what we can do in the future. So anytime, please let us know and we'll continue to take suggestions. Well, you know, one thing I looked at when I came up this year is today is exactly 1 year since I left Dallas and was at the user group conference. So I thought, you know, for sure I'd be going to many more meetings and take pictures. And here is my last picture of last year. So it's unfortunate, and hopefully this year things can get a little better for us. I would also like to introduce a couple key members as well. We have Steve McEnany, who's with Midwest Wheel. Shawn Mason, who as well is with Graphic Solutions, and they will help me today. And I appreciate their time specifically. Steve, I think if not announced, he is now going to be a network leader for the CST group. And Shawn, who just converted over from ISM to CSFS, is joining us. And I think he was initially going to take the day off, and I appreciate him helping us. So like I said before, we have our participants today. We do have Midwest Wheel. They're on CSFS today. Graphic Solutions, who's just converted over from ISM to CSFS. Myself, we're still a service warranty user. We're just kicking off our launch to CSD and CSFS. So watch for me in the next couple months to get a little more serious and get involved. But we're always looking for people to join our group. So we're still looking for a lot of people on the inspection side, the rental side. I know Shawn is a big mobile user, so we're getting those calls every day. So we'd like to make sure we have people helping us. So without further ado, I'm going to get to the first poll just to kind of gauge the audience. So if I can get Gloria to pop the poll up. So the question is, what is your current status of your service package? Are you still using service warranty like me? Are you currently implementing ISM or CSFS? Are you fully deployed on ISM CSFS, or are you currently exploring options? So we'll give that a minute. Okay.
I'm not seeing any results populate on the screen on this side. So please, folks, jump in with your mouse there and let us know where you're at in terms of your service package.
We'll give that a little minute there while we wait for the results.
Ashley, are you showing any results on your polling screen? Can you pull yours up and see if you've got any results, or has anybody else opened?
I do not see the poll.
Strange. Well, people are saying they've clicked. How about we do this? Can you put your answer in the chat window? That would be easier, and we apologize.
Gloria, I do see the poll. I see the answers.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a 56% response rate right now. 31% said SX.e service warranty module. 54% said currently implementing ISM or CSFS, and 15% said fully deployed. Nobody selected currently exploring the options.
Okay. Well, no, I mean that means we're hitting the target on the right audience for this webinar. So I appreciate the answers. We're going to have a second poll here shortly. I just wanted to kind of bring up, obviously, a few future topics that we've discussed as members. So we do have a TUG Virtual Conference 2021 coming up. So we do have some topics coming up, but we also are looking to do inspections in CSFS and vendor claims. So I'm looking for subject matter people in these areas. So if you can help in any way, I'd appreciate that. And let's continue on. The other thing I do want to just bring to your attention is our assembly and service group. Again, make sure you subscribe to it, be actively participating. Lately, we've been dealing with ISM CSFS, but we also do discuss with value add module and the kit production module, and I'm a heavy user of that as well. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, the TUG Connects, please do so. That's a resource that I use daily. And the other thing is to announce, and I think you've already seen this in your inbox, is TUG Connects 2021. It's going virtual this year. Please fill out the survey. I did actually do it myself, and I was very impressed with the content. And we're doing a registration right now. There is an early bird registration until April 1st. If there is others that have not already known, was a product announcement that came out from Infor. I'm not going to get into any details, but if you look at the link, it's on our user group board, just to keep in mind that vision statement. Other things I suggest that we do is obviously subscribe to these 2 KBs, because these KBs are important. You see them monthly when the new releases come out, and it's something that we recommend subscription to. And the last couple things, one is the Infor communities, something that you should be subscribed to as well. And I do recommend that. All right, so we talking about the enhancement request system. So if anybody knows John Kociuba, it's that my theme this year is where's all the CSFS enhancements. I'll be honest with you, I'm terribly guilty for not logging into the enhancement request system or voting. This is my chance this year to try to be better at it, and hopefully you guys would agree. As you know, the ERS is the voice of the customer. So I'm pretty excited, with Infor, the CSFS piece is improving each month, and we want our voice to be heard. All right, so I'm just going to throw out another poll. Let's see how that goes from the second piece. So Gloria, if you can take that second poll away, that would be appreciated. All right, so how often do you log into the ERS system and participate? So we have 5 ones, obviously daily, weekly, monthly. I need to be better in this area, or hey, the software is perfect. We do not require any more improvements. So we'll just give that a couple minutes and we'll go from there. Okay, so if you can quickly submit your votes, I appreciate the votes. We'll give it another 30 seconds and then we'll go from there. All right. We'll just give it another 10 seconds. All right, and the results are in, and I almost am not surprised by this, but 65% said I need to be better in this area. So hopefully, you know, as I said, I'm here to help. I'm hoping to drive that change as well. So I appreciate all the answers on this poll. So before we bring in Keith from Infor, I just want to quickly go through some points about what a successful ERS process would look like. I think there's just a couple things that we need to understand first and foremost, that you know, the first thing you have to do if you're about to do an ERS is you got to decide, is that a software defect or is that an enhancement to make that product better? I mean, defects should be reported in Infor Concierge as an incident. The other thing that we suggest prior to you even creating that ERS is vet your idea prior to submission. So the user group site is a great place for that. Many times there's an ERS submission that is actually standard functionality. So and once you're ready to do an ERS, obviously the more detailed you can be on your business case, the better. While the proposed solution is important to state, it shouldn't have any more detail than a summary. So Infor will help propose those solutions. Obviously, the other thing I do see, and I saw this even today when I was logging in, is in regards to ISM CSFS. I know Steve just mentioned, and he can probably comment later in this webinar, that you know, we'd like to know whether it's a mobile app issue or if it's just a standard issue with the software. The other thing I also noticed, and I did approach Keith, and Keith will maybe talk on this shortly, is the differences of product. There's just a ton of different options. For me, it's confusing. So, obviously, Infor doesn't look at the, you know, each one separately. It looks at CFS as a whole, but just to keep in mind that you can click on the product line and it'll get you all the enhancements that are there. So obviously, once you complete your ERS, you need votes. That's one thing I did notice today in the CSFS piece. You know, there's 0 to 1 vote. While your idea may be great, let's be honest, no votes equals no results, right? So I think the one thing that people need to understand is once they're done, they need to socialize that, email your friends, and also post on the user group. So that copy URL piece is your friend. So as you can see, you can copy the URL and then you can post it into a user group posting using the link button. So, and I have left an example of a very good example from David White. I believe we call him the father of the ERS system. There's also this video of him explaining it, I think 3 or 4 years ago. So if you need more information on the ERS, then you can do that. All right, I've talked enough to kind of quickly run through that. So I'm just gonna turn this over to Keith Capera, who's the product manager for CSFS. He can give us an update and tell us the importance of entering ERSs. Keith, take it away.
Thank you, John. Let me share my screen here. Okay, should be able to see a PowerPoint slide there.
Yes.
So yeah, let me briefly add a few comments. I second everything that John said about ERS. And then we're going to look at one of the exciting new things coming for field service. So regarding ERS, yes, please socialize everything, whether it's on the TUG site, through Infor communities, email, calling your friends, whatever, to get those votes in. You know, and we realize that it's not a set number of votes necessarily, because there's some facets whereas there might not be as many users on rental, but we don't want to neglect any part of the application. So, don't feel that, hey, there's fewer users, you're not going to get your voice heard. That's not true. Adding detailed comments so we can build the use case. So otherwise we're going to have to come back to you, and that's fine too. But if it's just a cryptic one sentence, we're going to need a little more detail. Sometimes it's hard to decipher one enhancement request from another, and we don't want to risk closing out your request because it looks like a duplicate or whatever. And then we'll get those items. Product management and product development meet on a weekly basis to talk in general about issues, but also we'll throw in everything on ERS as we can get to them. So these things, it's not like a static system. I know some of these items may stay out there for a while because we've got to take the backlog as we can manage the resources, but we do actively look at those in a very serious manner, and we have been adding items to the roadmap as we go. Once it's on the roadmap, doesn't mean that it's going to be done next month because it's got to be estimated within development to see is that a large change, or can we get that done, maybe in the next couple of sprints. But we'll eventually put an ETA on that, a target date that will be communicated back in the enhancement request system. And then, so just in your visibility into that, I heard some comments before about, hey, it's based upon your entitlement. So if you're not seeing ERSs through, the enhancement request system or going in through concierge, let me know and we'll get into that, because I don't want people to say, well, I didn't see that enhancement out there. So please give us your feedback on that. So yeah, from there, one of the exciting new things coming to field service is we're calling the UI UX uplift. So that's what we're going to be talking about primarily today. Take about the next 8 to 10 minutes to go over a quick overview of those features. So with that, let's get right into it. So, we've gotten feedback from the field to, kind of scope out this, what we're calling a UI UX uplift, which really gets into the templates, page styling. We've got our internal design team, used to be referred to as Hook and Loop, which we now refer to as Infor Design, that is vetting all of the user interfaces, whether that's on a mobile device, a tablet, or a desktop. And the goal is to become, reach a seamless interface, whether you're in the field, running on an Apple device or an Android phone, or internally or on a tablet, whether you're coming out of a service organization or depot, to entering service tickets, or you're doing rentals. Streamlined experience, and one that marries the other apps that you're entitled to, namely, primarily Cloudsuite distribution, but other edge, other applications, right? With that, we've got several design patterns that we're utilizing. For instance, wizards, right? Different areas of the screen that we want to walk you through. As you're creating an incident, we want to have a logical way to not only add a customer, but add the units, add the part numbers, the summary of what was done, to reduce all the hunting and pecking that you're doing, and reduce the number of clicks that you've got to go through, right? Also with that, header detail patterns, you're moving from one level to another, looking at a list of customers, go down and drill into a customer. On the lookup side, we know that, folks that are used to Mongoose love their filter in place mode, right? But some of those lookups are embedded in some pretty utilized screens, and they do need improvement. So what we want to do here is leverage the Elastic search that we have as part of the CSD search pattern, and extend that to Cloudsuite Field Service. And then with workbenches, we want to continue to expand that central place where a user can view everything about service and rental. So you see a sample screen there that is going to be a revamp of the existing Mongoose form. Here's an example of an incident quick create that looks very much like a CSD screen, and that's going to be the whole point here, is to have one seamless look and feel that you don't have to worry about whether you're in Cloudsuite distribution or field service, because if you're training new users, for example, consistent look and feel. So at the top, you've got the wizard approach to going from the general incident data all the way onto the summary, and it's going to guide you through that process, right? Example on the new work codes screen, simple header detail pattern, get a list of the recently visited work codes on the left. I've got the search capabilities up top where I can, search with a wildcard in an elastic manner to get a list of work codes. So we've got several methods of search, but the key point being that it looks the same as would be done in Cloudsuite distribution. Example with customer lookup, where on the top you've got your elastic search where I can, do a wildcard type search. And then as in CSD, a facetized or faceted search where I want to focus on country code or city or state and reduce the list on that subset, and then get the list of customers in that search down at the bottom of the screen, and then the ability to drill in from there. So you want to do the Google type search or the faceted type search, your choice. So, but also an integrated experience, right? So this is a key point that, Cloudsuite Field Service is a very large application, similar to Cloudsuite distribution, very rich in functionality, has existed for many years. It is still a separate application, right? We're not trying to hide that fact. So they do have to be integrated, but we don't have to have a separate look and feel, which is harder to train on and kind of confusing. So we want to integrate that experience. Currently, you've got the app switcher that gives you the single sign-on and the ability to go from field service to CSD and back and forth. We could have, existing hyperlinks from a SRO to a sales order and vice versa. That's all great, but we want to go further than that. So what we're doing here is what we're calling this mega menu, which is a unified menu also from the app switcher. So you'd go into Cloudsuite distribution, and then without having to switch over to field service, I can access those forms directly from this unified mega menu, right? So you'll see that in a minute. We'll do a short live demo here. And then if you're here on the upper right, you've got some other CSD type functionality here. So everybody that loves their 4-letter acronyms for, OEET for order entry, well, we've got the same thing for field service now. So going forward, that you can either type in, start to type in incident quick create, or go right to SREI to navigate to that function without having to use the menu navigation. So again, another pattern that CSD uses. Once we've integrated with the frame and the menus from Cloudsuite distribution, we then have the ability to integrate into security. So and set up the security options in SASO to be able to handle the access to these forms that are in this unified menu, right? Now the existing Mongoose forms in field service, if I were to navigate over to Cloudsuite Field Service, are still there, and you can utilize those. But going forward, I think you're going to find that the unified interface is going to be to your liking. The first set of forms that will be converted are for rental. Okay, so if you're utilizing rental right now, I want to hear from you so that we can get your feedback. And that's coming in, target is the May release right now, barring any issues for this first set of forms. Probably be a couple sprints just for the rental to get through that, because it's a pretty large change. And then we'll move on to some service forms, inspection forms, what have you, going forward as well. So with that, let me go over to a live demo here and on a log back in here. So I'm authenticated to Cloudsuite distribution. Go over to my menu. So again, you're going to have field service here. But hey, I want to do it all from one menu. Why should I have to switch from application to application? And so you'll see down here, if I scroll down, I'm going to have a couple new entries. And here I've got a service rental menu selection, and I can go into things like, let's go into customer setup here as an example. This is still in. All right. So again, the CSD look and feel with the most recent customers that you've accessed on the left, the wildcard search or Elasticsearch up top, and then a list of customers that I can drill into from here, right? So very familiar to CSD users, and a lot easier to train on. So we can go to the detail from there. You notice we have the tabbed interface here. So we can enter the detailed data, go to the credit tab, and then also CSD style. We've got the icons up here to be able to create a new record, copy, delete, etc. And then the back button as well. And then one more thing is here. So I believe in field service, you got the right click capability to do things like export to Excel. So we don't want to eliminate any of that functionality. We've just moved it to the ellipsis and give you the ability to do the export to Excel, add notes, and a few other selections as well. So this is just one example of a form. You know, we've got rental forms, again, are going to be the first ones out of the box. We'll have, after that, incident quick create and other forms that are going to be converted as well. Ultimately, hopefully, all of the existing Mongoose forms, they still will be Mongoose forms under the covers, but again, we don't need to advertise that, you know, we just want a seamless interface, least number of clicks, the least training, you know, issues that you'll have. So looking for feedback from rental, but all field service customers going forward. So please get that to me, to Ray, or anybody involved in field service. So I hope that kind of highlights for you the direction we're taking on the UI UX uplift, but more to come in the future. So I'll swing it back to you, John.
Well, I appreciate that. It looks pretty exciting stuff coming down the pipe. So I appreciate all the hard work in this area. So I will just go back to my screen and we will get going. So was there any comments or questions from my team in regards to that? Steve or Shawn?
I just think it'll be huge for our users. It'll make things much easier to train for sure.
Yeah, no, I agree, absolutely. So, all right, so I'm just going to jump into the ERS system. We do have several people. I'd like this to be a little more interactive, and I'm going to probably ask on a few people on these ERSs. So if you're on the call, we'd appreciate some feedback here. As you know, again, I logged into the ERS. Like Keith had said, you have to have the product and purchase the product in order to see the ERSs. So, as I said, you can see that through Concierge. I've already listed it, and I've already kind of narrowed down the scope. We do have another half hour, so we'll probably try to get through a couple. And again, if we don't get through everything, then we'd love your feedback as to what we should do in the future to make it better for you all. So first, I'm just going to quickly look at the very first one at the very top. I do believe this is a rental user, John Latta Associates. I am not sure if anybody's on the call today. I did speak to someone earlier this week. Is anybody from John Latta on the call here? Okay, well, we will go through that and we'll continue on. We'll make a note. I really do want to get to the ones that are here, so I'd like to jump over to CSFS quote. Turf Care. I think someone's on the call from Turf Care. Jennifer, are you on the call? Yeah, is it possible you can just kind of explain to us the scope of this ERS, maybe socialize it for us as to what you're looking for here?
Carla on here as well. I think she actually put this one in.
Yeah, I can speak to it. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's fine. Sorry to put you on the spot here. I want to get some conversation going here. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. So like in our current system right now, when we enter our quotes through the SW.ER screen, we automatically get a CSD.OE tied to it. So all of our stuff shows up nice on that acknowledgement. And then in CSFS, you don't get a CSD.OE until you convert your template. We want it right away. For a couple of reasons. It shows right up on our open orders. It adds the values into your open orders, and it's all kind of connected to both systems. So you're not going to miss it if you're just running everything open.
yeah. Is there any comments from anybody on that? I personally would agree with you guys on that one. For us in our business, we bring a vehicle into the shop, so our customers want a quote first, right? So we definitely will still open a SRO work order, but we obviously would like to see an order generated, a quote order generated, and being able to quote the customer. So
yeah. The other piece of that is like we do technician margins. We have to have specific sales reps in, and without that CSD.OE, you're kind of hoping that the next person who converts it, if it's not you, remembers they got to go and change that tech,
right,
rather than you having it all updated at the same time.
Right. No, I agree with this one, and I'm going to fully endorse this one after the call. Is there anybody else that wants to jump in on this discussion or have any questions for Jennifer? Nope. Okay, well, I appreciate, I'm probably going to jump into this very next one as well, because I think this one is also the same as this one. I think it's just exactly what you just said earlier, right? With it connecting to the order.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so same concept, it's just that's for just starting your service order. You can't have the CSD.OE till you add the transaction.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I appreciate that. All right, let's move on to the next one. Accounts. We'll just, and again, maybe everybody's on this call, but it'd be appreciated if somebody can jump in if they understand what the story is here. I'm unsure if we have anybody from Print Ostat. As per need to prevent system from removing account from the chart of accounts that has already been referenced in the system. Anybody can speak to that? Okay, we'll move on. Shawn, didn't I see a couple from you here?
Yes, there should be several in there for me.
Okay, well, let's go to some.
You can find them, yeah.
You know, I just had you at the top here earlier, so I'm surprised I don't see it here all of a sudden. But
hopefully, I put them in the right. I put them in the right product line.
Well, no, you know what? I actually did this differently yesterday, and I saw you come right up. But unfortunately, I got to do this probably. So that's probably what I had to do here. So let's.
John, it's Brian Negri on. Sorry, on those past ones that we were just talking about, the link to the quote and link to the order, and making sure that they convert correctly.
Yep.
Just a tiny bit of clarity, or maybe you can share a little bit of clarity on that one for get a couple of the engineers on it as well here.
Sure, absolutely.
Because we are adding actually in the April release, we're actually adding the assembly piece, which is sort of a conversion where you can create your quotes and create your sales orders within CSD, and then we have a stored job which will then convert those over to SROs. And just wondering if that will help this process or if we need to even get the tighter integration, which is being suggested here.
Well, personally, from my perspective, and again, I can't comment on Turf Care's side, but we don't create the order in order entry and let them come over into service warranty and get created. We typically go into the SRO first and create a quote SRO, which then creates an associated OE quote as well, right? So then we go through all the, okay, this job needs, these 10 parts. We're going to need, 20 hours of labor. And here, Mr. Customer, here's your quote to fix your transmission on your truck. Yes or no? Do you want to go for it, right? If he says no, obviously we're going to convert it. We're going to bill him for the labor that we spent time and send the vehicle on its way. But the second piece is, of course, the customer does want to go ahead with it. We convert it to a true full-blown order, assign a lead technician to it, and get the job to complete.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarity.
And you can reach out to me. We'll have my contact at the end of the call as well. So Jennifer and Turf Care, I don't know if there's any more you want to comment on that.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of the other thing that Brian was just speaking to as well, because we use that process for our product assembly for brand new equipment. But we do the reversal exactly how John said there when it's not an actual assembly unit.
Correct.
Thank you for that clarification, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. No, I appreciate the participation. So, okay, Shawn. So I did grab one. I finally found one. So I appreciate that. So, Shawn, I do have 68468 here. Ship to required. So I think I know what this is about. But if you can quickly socialize what you want here.
Yeah,
so.
I think actually this one has been resolved just in the last few weeks on a new update that came out. So basically what we were saying is if the customer needed a ship to, we didn't want to get off into the order then find out, hey, we didn't pick the ship to, but that's now coming over with the party master bod. So it comes over and sets that up.
Okay.
Good morning.
All right. So then we'll jump to another one. I think again, well, this one, I did find another one for you as well.
Oh yeah, that's me.
So let's jump into that one too.
We currently have 3 different divisions, and so we kind of almost have 3 different queues, 3 different calendars, if you will, or 3 different divisions. And so right now, if you have multiple people or let's say you have one person taking phone calls, we'd like to be able to pick that department right up there in the instant quick queue console, so that they know, hey, this is going to be a digital call or an embroidery call or screen printing call, and so that you're not having to go back further into the call, set it up, and then before you can get to that, so you can right away put it into the right group of techs.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions or concerns with that, Brian? The group?
No, it's pretty clear to me.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue on in a reasonable order. The only other thing I wanted to ask, I don't know if Sharon is on the call from Asheville. I don't see any enhancements here. Is there something that you're looking for here that we haven't touched on yet?
I'm sure that there's plenty, but I have not been creating them because I work with what I've got right now. I'm just too covered up to even put the enhancement out there.
Okay. No, and I appreciate that. So that's all we would need to know. So, and can Brian and or Keith, can you just explain the load all feature and what that really does? I know that this now loads everything in place. I know that if it's blue, it's new. I haven't looked at it, but what's the piece of the load all feature here? I know it will load them in, but what is the criteria behind that?
Yeah, I know that's normally the default mode because that's the only way you'll get all the statuses. So I don't play with anything but the load all.
Okay.
Yeah, I would recommend that mode. Otherwise, it seems like I'm not sure what subset it's delivering upon the initial grid, but.
Okay. And can you briefly talk about the product thing? I guess what's the easiest way? If you notice, when I hit Cloudsuite Field Service, I didn't get Shawn's initial ER, but then when I went to product and I selected them all, then I got it. So are we looking to improve this piece here, or what's the purpose, I guess, of product and having so many different sections to that? So.
Yeah, I think we should look to improve that. I've got to, get with the group that administers that
Okay.
to see if we can streamline it but again, I'll say that, if it happens to be miscategorized, we're going to find them all. It's not that great a volume in there right now. So, but we will work to make that a little easier. But you can go into, I think it was easier there was a product and a product line. So product line at a higher level, there was only the 2 categorizations, I believe. So.
Yep. Okay. Okay, so I will jump into another one unless somebody wants to jump in and try to socialize theirs. And I'm going to, again, pick on turf care a bit here, and I apologize for that. But can you explain maybe, I think this has already been discussed. I'm unsure if this is even fixed yet, but the mobile app not showing credit hold on SX.e. So can somebody comment on that?
Yeah, on the mobile app, if you go in, it does not tell you the customer's on credit hold. There's nothing to tell you unless you put the SRO in. And there's nothing to tell your service technician that they should not be doing service work at that customer location while they're there.
All right.
It also, excuse me, this is Sharon with Asheville Oil. When your tech is on site and it doesn't give you the credit hold, it just won't allow the price to come up on the app, but it doesn't tell you why. So that is a big issue on the mobile app. Other than that, I love the mobile app, just FYI.
Yeah, I've heard good things about the mobile app, that it's really good if you can get it to work for you.
Okay.
I know there's another enhancement out there on the mobile app with the same kind of theory, and they made the PO required in the web app, but the mobile app doesn't enforce that. And I think ship to required's got the same issue, and I know they're all on the list and they're in different ERs, but just something that's got to be addressed. And they address the mobile apps separately than they do from the big web applications. So it's important to make sure you get them in the right categories too when you file them.
Hey, just to speak to that real quick about the PO required, we run into that situation where if you notice an instant quick create, there'll be a checkbox kind of grayed out. It's just an informational box and PO required. But currently it doesn't force you to put in a PO. And so if you blow past that and get 2 or 3 steps into it, then you realize that you got to kind of go back and backtrack. So what we did was went into the designer mode and made that a required field, PO required. And what we tell our entry people is if they have a PO number, the tech, if they want to give you a PO number, great. If they don't, you populate that field with something, service, today's date or something, but at least what makes us ask the question, is there a PO? So that you're not having to go back and backtrack when you're going through the workflow. So you can go make that a required field.
John, does that get overridden when you get an update?
If they give you the PO later?
No, like you made that change in design mode and it's a required field. When you get an update for the field service, do you have to go and reset that again?
I'm not, Brian could probably answer that. We were about to get one this weekend, an update. And so hopefully not, because we've just tweaked a few things. Brian, do you know does that override if it's set to a global?
I can tell you it doesn't. I have a whole bunch of stuff I've set up that way. It will keep the change just like Cloudsuite distribution does.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of theory that your modifications lay on top of the base code. If you conflict with the base code, there's instructions on how to get your conflicts resolved, but I've yet to have it happen, and we've been on it over a year. So.
Okay.
That's exactly right, Steve. This is Scott. I work with Brian's team in development, and that's exactly how it's going to be handled. So good to hear that it's working for you, Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there anybody else before? Because I see I'm just going to jump into this list, and I see Shawn's name on every one of them. So I don't want to hog somebody else's time if they have any questions or want to make a suggestion before I jump into some of these extra ones. So
yeah, John, I sent you a private message in chat that Eric is here with us from John Latta.
Oh, okay.
Is very happy to address those ERSs that you passed over. He had a technical problem, bounced off and back in.
Oh, and I apologize. I'm running at multiple screens, so that's perfect. So we will jump to that one first, and then we'll go from there. So I just got to go back to it, you see. So just bear with me. Just so many of them here. Okay, so John Latta, I think we did talk briefly, is that they are a new TUG member, so welcome aboard. I believe they're in rentals. Everybody take note, rentals. We'll pass it over to you guys, and then maybe you can explain the business you're in and the purpose of this ERS.
Yeah, actually, so I'm one of the Infor partners that I work with John Latta, so I'm kind of their ombudsman here, if you will.
Okay, that's fine.
But I know a lot about what they're looking for in these different enhancements. Some of them are filed under their customer name, but also some under the partner Acumen group. So
oh, okay, all right.
Find them in different sections. So in this particular one, they are looking to be able to change the rate in line on the check-in component during rental. They manipulate their rates a lot, and this has to do a lot with the fact that they're limited to a single rate in the rental concept. They're multi-branch, and obviously competitive industry requires them to offer different rates for products per branch. So that's actually a separate ERS that's in here, but this one is to deal with the fact that they like to be able to change the rate in line when they're checking in.
Okay. Is there any comments to that from Infor or any other rental users?
Could that be also set up on users? So some people could have permission to override the price and some people will have to have the price that comes up? Or is that, would you just open it to all? Is that what you're requesting?
Looking for the capability, I think user-specific security would be excellent idea.
Okay.
Yeah, so Sharon, I think the way we'd approach that is we'd have it the better rate button at the top and adjust rate, and have that launch a new feature or a new window that is controlled by the permissions that you want. So certain users could have it and other users would not be able to launch it.
Okay.
Okay. So is there any other ERSs from John Latta that we were talking? I know you mentioned a couple, but I don't see them here.
Yeah, could you filter by service management, and they're under Acumen.
Yeah. Under Acumen, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I apologize for that. So I'm still, oh, there we go, right here, then is what you're saying. Okay, yep, right here. Oh, that's credit card interface. Maybe I'll just search by Acumen, I guess. He did say that, so I should probably do that.
ACU, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go. Yep. And I apologize again. This is good.
No problem.
This is good experience for me too, because as I said, we're not in here enough, right? So, okay, a credit card. We can talk about that. Let's go to this one because that probably makes some good sense here. Okay, that makes sense. Why there's so many now? Okay, so support cash transactions in CFS rental contracts when integrated to CSD.
Yeah, so they have rental counter sales, and they'd like to be able to take the cash transaction in the rental counter as opposed to having to do some manipulations in CSD on the AR side or an ROA. So that payment method isn't supported in the integration currently.
Right, and I agree with that too. So.
Yeah, I'll vote for that one as well.
Agreed. So the one thing I want to encourage people to do here, and again, maybe not right today, but right after the call, make sure you jump onto these ERSs and vote for them. And we want to see some numbers here. So, and of course, I'm assuming these are just all the same in regards to credit card, multi-merchant.
Yeah, trying to get it more in line with CSD functionality that supports multiple merchant IDs. CSFS doesn't support that. So just trying to get that aligned.
Okay, no, perfect. We talked about the rates or rental rates by location.
So yeah, once again, they're limited to a single rate across all their branch locations, which is very limiting because they would rent a piece of tilt-up equipment at a different rate in Spokane than they would in Seattle, right?
Right.
And as a result, they'd want to support different rates for those products by branch location.
Okay. Do we need to get into more about the credit cards, or I think how we hashed that one out enough?
The credit card types is a slightly different flavor on that one because as opposed to multi-merchant, it's that I guess there's no differentiation between Discover, Visa, and MasterCard in payment type in CSFS like there would be in CSD.
Right.
And so for a natural reconciliation process, you would want those different cards defined.
Yeah, and I would agree with that as well. So CFR rental rates by location, credit cards, authorization amounts.
That's a huge one for them because they in the construction industry, so they might rent a piece of equipment that's $50 or $5,000. CSD has a variable authorization amount where we can put in, relative to the order, how much that authorization on the card is. There is no such feature in rental for CSFS. So that authorization on the credit card is essentially useless because you can't have a generic authorization amount for such varying amounts on rental. That makes sense?
Infor, comment on that?
So Eric, does that surface itself as like a cap to the authorization? Is that what we're doing there with the auth?
No, so if in CSD, if I do a $5,000 order, the authorization is for $5,000. If I do a $50 order, the authorization is for $50. In CSFS on the rental contract, I have to put in a flat amount and I cannot change that amount on the authorization.
So there is some degree to be able to configure how much your authorization is going to be, whether it's a fixed amount or whether it's a percentage of the order.
That percentage feature isn't supported in the rental.
Okay.
At least that's what I've been told.
I think I get it.
Beautiful. Okay. We probably could just have a call strictly on all your ERSs here in the rental.
All right, I don't mean to hog it.
No, that's okay. Actually, I'm going to give it, like, we have only probably about 5 minutes or so. So I just, before we continue on that list, Shawn, is there anything on your list that you really want to get to? I mean, or Sharon, I know she doesn't have any, but is there some comments, or Turf Care or any Toro dealer that want to bring something up now while they have a chance? Okay, well then we'll continue if I don't see anything there.
Well,
so.
John,
Yep.
I actually don't have it out there, but you had mentioned the inspections. And I've got them set up, and they really do work great with the mobile app when they're connected to a unit. So if anybody has questions about inspections, I do have them set up. It was very painful, but I have finally gotten the workflow, and the techs now know how to handle that.
Okay.
So,
yeah, the inspections I think came from a previous call. I think you had mentioned it. You were looking for people in inspection. So I've kind of taken that upon myself to maybe make a webinar on that down the road. But I'm looking for people to help in that scenario, right? So, so if I can count on you on that, that'd be great. So.
You have issues with that. I know there's an ERS under Cloudsuite Field Service for that, because the mobile app is alphabetical and the web app is in a different order. You run into problems with that?
yes, that was part of my headache. I'm sorry, I put numbers in front of them.
Oh, well, that works.
Yeah.
I had to just dummy it down like that.
That's actually probably a good tip for everybody if they're going to load them, to put a number in front of them. I didn't, and I have that frustration. So that's a thought.
Anything else from Shawn? Shawn, I want to give you a little opportunity. I appreciate your time on your day off to come and help us today. So I want to be sure that we're covering some of your pain points today. One question I do have for Infor, and I know that we're kind of maybe off basis, is, you know, is there still that separation from ISM on-prem to CSFS, or is that eventually just going to be rolled up into what we call CSFS today? Is that, or is that still a flavor there? Can somebody comment on that? Maybe they don't want to comment.
I'm looking for Brian or Keith to comment, but if they're not there, then I can probably comment.
Sure, that'd be appreciated. Should I continue to reference it as ISM and CSFS, or should I just say, you know what, everything's moving to the cloud, we should just say it's CSFS?
Okay, I think I see Brian coming off mute, but maybe not. Maybe that's me coming off mute.
Maybe. Maybe.
So yeah, I'm going to continue to know it as ISM, but
to coaster test.
Yeah, so referencing, you know, we're rebranding the product to service and rental.
A couple of errors that I had
going forward, probably in a June time frame.
I need to test the fetch where, and I can't test that on our local development.
If we could just have everybody on mute that's not speaking, so we can continue with the webinar, please. Thank you.
So
yeah, all yours.
We'll take either name, John, but
okay.
you know, it's you know, ISM, but for now, field service. In the future, service and rental will be a single.
Yeah. No, and I didn't want to put you on the spot there. That was just, I wanted to be sure that maybe I might, as I said, I'm still a new user, and I just wanted to be sure I had the right terminology moving forward.
No, you already see some publications that'll be referencing service and rental, so I don't want anybody to confuse, but it officially should be going in June.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. So, I mean, obviously we're getting close, so I want to just kind of throw it there for last minute questions before we finish this up. Is there any last minute questions? I actually have no problem with constructive criticism. So if you're looking to, we need obviously to do more of these type of webinars. If you want to let me know what you think the frequency should be moving forward, then that would be appreciated. So I just also want to quickly just do, I want to extend personal thanks to Infor for at the last minute coming in. I know Scott, you guys have been doing a great job over there, and Brian and Ray and of course Keith. So I appreciate it. Hopefully we can continue on with the good work. So last I want to do is, you know what, I just want to throw my contact up here. So I do have my cell number here. It's in Canada. I think it's long distance for most of you. So you can call me at any time. There, my email address is there. I'd love to hear from you guys. I know there's a couple.
John?
Yep.
I'm sorry, you had a question from Jennifer Meyer.
Oh, do I? Of course, I can't see the question for some reason. So
John, it says the question is there an enhancement out there already to have the CSD SLSM in from QEET also be a field in CSFS service order, so you don't need to go back and forth, or is this already functional and I just don't know?
So sorry, this is Carla. Sorry, I typed that. I don't know why it comes up as Jen.
I think it's probably sent to my link because you couldn't get into the webinar.
Yeah, you use the same link. So if you next time we'll tell you how to change your name so that you can be on there as yourself.
Okay, my apologies, but
no worries.
My question there is, in the service order form, there's a sales rep box, but I don't know where that actually drives to, if it's the sales rep in or the sales rep out on the OE and CSD. And if there's a way for it to just be the sales rep in box so that it automatically updates for us from the service order to the OE.
Scott, Brian?
Yeah, so there is a control point when the customer integrates from CSD, so it's your ARSC record, integrates to the customer master and ISM. You have to specify which salesperson you're going to capture, because as you know, you have the in and the out in CSD, but in ISM, you just have a single salesperson. So you specify in the integration parameters form which one you want to use, and that's the one that then defaults to new orders created on the SRO.
Fantastic.
From the SRO, then it integrates from the SRO back to the sales order reflection accordingly.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
Okay, and I do apologize for not seeing that question. For some reason, my computer just decided to freeze here. So I just want to close up this webinar. I appreciate everybody's participation today. I do have my contact information out there. Please communicate with me. I know there's a couple of people moving to CSFS next month. Love to hear from you, see how that went. And if that's all the questions, then I'll pass it back over to Gloria.
Well, thank you very, very, very much. I want to say, John, thank you to you for wrangling all of these knowledgeable folks in your midst. A special thanks to Shawn, to Steve, to Keith, and who else am I forgetting? Ray. I think Ray had to bounce off early, but want to just say a special thanks to all of you. And with all of our content, whoops, excuse me here. With all of our content, this will be available in approximately 2 business days for review, share with your colleagues, etc. Go back and revisit the content. And also wanted to tell all of you folks that are A+ Fax SX.e and CSD users that we will be hosting a program a week from today about e-commerce network roundtable discussion, the power of data and how a PIM can transform your e-commerce user experience. So TUG members, just a quick reminder, if you still have any questions or if you have any comments, the forums are that 24-karat gold, and you can just see from the power of the network of the collegial sharing that you have. You know, so many people are deeper in the weeds with regard to your ERP that you're using and all of the attributes, and really are so helpful to one another. And that's where the power of TUG comes into play. So for those of you who aren't members yet, I always say, why not? That forum is worth the price of admission alone. So jump on over to www.theusergroup.org and join us today. And thanks again to everyone for joining us online. And we'll look forward to the next time. And as they say in Hollywood, that's a wrap.